Everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and this is my review for RWBY Volume 9, Episode 9, A Tale Involving a Tree. This, of course, is a 420 review, hence the big sushi. This is like my third time trying this. Cottonmouth hit me so hard. I was doing really good. The first run, I was doing it. And then Cottonmouth, like right now. So I'm going to be drinking a bunch of water in this one. Oh, that's good. So that's just a heads up, because I tried, and the Cottonmouth has officially hit. In fact, we just boom. This is set dressing right now. That's just the reflection. I was like, what is that chip on my glass? Anyway, great episode, but really fast. Also, I had no idea this was the episode before the season finale, which kind of worries me because I'm like, okay, I would have expected after Ruby's gone, I'm thinking there's got to be like 3 episodes, excuse me. And I think maybe 1 extra episode could possibly do it, and maybe like space a couple things out. I'm not sure, but the way this one went, it was like, this felt like it, unfortunately, in the wrong way. It felt like a lot happened at once. It's not, typically it's like, oh man, it felt like, a lot happened in a short amount of time. It felt like it should have been like a special, or, like a 30-minute episode or something, just to let some of the moments breathe. Cause I was like, once everything kind of went down, we have the crystals coming back, and it's like, okay, so that is their answer to whether or not ascension is really bad. Like, do you actually die or do you come back? I was like, okay, that's the answer. They were right the whole time. So that allows Jaune to be like, okay, I now accept what needs to happen. He has, kind of his hero complex and stuff like that. And then boom, they're sent off to the tree. And then they're trying to get to RWBY, or well, specifically Yang is. And everyone's like, hey, maybe that's not how it works. And everyone's like super calm. Like, they get through it really, really fast. And it's like, I know that was meant to be their answer, but I felt like there still should have been like a little kickback. And I know pretty much this whole season, it's mostly been Jaune that's been like, hey, it's definitely not the case. And excuse me, for RWBY, she was already enticed by the fact that, she was kind of hit with her depression and everything. So for her, it was still kind of up in the air too. But, the rest of the team pretty much was kind of trying to be accepting, where it's like, hey, we don't really know about ascension and stuff like that. But I also felt like they still didn't understand it 100%. Like, they were really trusting of it, and I felt like they hadn't really been there long enough, especially considering the only person that they've really come across, or like even most of the big characters they've come across, was the prince that tried to cheat and kill them, the cat that kept lying to him and then officially became a villain. And then it's just like, that just feels oddly trusting. Like, he didn't, of course, become a villain before RWBY decided to make that decision, but even in the episode before that, it was just like, all right, well, you guys aren't really on good terms. Like, he, didn't tell you a whole half of the story where like some dark stuff happened. And it was like, they're kind of just trusting, like, really, really quick. Like, it felt like there was no urgency to how anyone felt, where it was just like, I know that the crystals were right, but the cat was also wrong. And then we don't really know exactly how simple and easy it is to expect RWBY to come back. And then it was just like, okay, it's not really our choice. But it felt so fast, considering everything that happened. It felt like everything was a buildup. And then this episode just went way too fast. Like, it felt like nothing really got to breathe. I was like, oh man, they figured out the thing with the crystals. Instantly teleported to the tree. Yang's freaking out, which that is a big part of why I feel like other people should have had a reaction, because she was the only person. I know it's because it was her sister, but if she was still accepting of it, they could have put that with at least one other character where it was like, man, maybe we should still be frantic. We still don't know 100% what's going on just because that happened for the crystals. Because one of the possible truths or possible lies the cat said was like, oh, the tree won't kill you and stuff like that. But unless he knows exactly what happened after he, I assume, killed Alex on the tree, I don't think he knows that's true. Like, they don't really know what is and is not in this world yet. And I just thought it was interesting. It was like, I was like, hey, don't worry about it. RWBY will be cool. And then Yang was basically like, you know what? You're right. She'll be fine. That's how fast it felt to me. Like, that's just what it felt like in the episode. And then it was like, okay, they showed the door. And I was like, all right, let's see what happens here. And then we see Neo / the cat, Neo Cat, come in. I was like, all right, he can't escape through Neo because she has nothing attached to the other side. He finds out that RWBY's still alive, but if they break her out, I guess she'll just be herself again, which I know they're accepting of her, like, trying to change her mind. I guess it's meant to be, I don't know. Like, if I'm assuming there's supposed to be a real world parallel of letting people, choose, make their own decisions or something like that. But in this specific world, I feel like that doesn't make a lot of sense to be like, you could literally lose her forever. Like she was driven to that. I think it makes more sense to, there we go. Oh, there it is. I think it makes more sense to have the characters want to try to help her as herself, because they don't know, you know, especially with the reference of, you know, the heart remembers. That was the big thing. And it's like, so if she turns into her mom, is her mom just gonna, like, she's gonna like be her mom and her mom's gonna, she'll be dead, I guess. And then if you do the reverse of that, why would that take a whole season? But also, why even do it if it's going to be in just the next episode where it, like all of that's done? I mean, unless it's like an hour-long episode and it gets to breathe, I doubt that's coming. But unless it's a super long episode, that's really not going to breathe. So if that leads into the next season where it's like they kind of like killed off RWBY and then they also somehow couldn't just instantly have her drink the tea or, you know, get a leaf off of the tree, I don't know what we're headed towards in this season finale. And it seems really weird to me that this is where we are going into the finale. It's not that I'm not excited, because I do want to, obviously I want to see what happens. I'm not sure if they're going to kill someone else, which, getting to that, I know Jaune wasn't meant to be dead or anything. The action in this episode wasn't entertaining to me. I was like, they're doing it's a fight sequence, and I was like, it just doesn't feel good. I guess it was because they didn't have, you know, for Neocat, he was just kind of using Neo's powers and in like the simplest ways. Like there's no style to it, like how she would do it. So I guess that was it. But then they had the scene where he started to switch characters and stuff, and that's another moment that probably could have breathed, is have, you know, the transformations happen more often through that fight, because that really only affected RWBY in the last one, and then to use that to, you know, try to kill everyone else would also be way more effective. Like just from the very beginning, like throw everyone off. You could even have them turn into each other. Like there's a million other ways that could have gone as like a challenging fight, but it felt super fast. And then when they got to the part where they switched to Penny and then they had Pyrrha come in, what was the deal with the super dramatic slash if nothing happened to him? Like you don't do like the anime like flash cut thing and then the person's just like, "Ow, my back. Oh, it's Pyrrha." And then that was it. And he got hit by a fireball and he fell off the tree. And I was like, you can't, like, what did she do? You can't do that, because that signifies for anyone that watches anime that that's like someone cutting through someone or stabbing through somebody, and you do like a big slash. And I'm like, that was it? Like she didn't pierce his aura, she didn't stab him or anything like that. It was literally like just a hit. And he honestly kind of just reacted like, ow. Like that's how I was like, that was like a super dramatic thing. It looked cool for sure. I'm like, that didn't make any sense. You don't do like the big slash thing and then it's like it's not actually dramatic. It was just another hit. And I was like, well, she could have just hit him. And if that was the case, you're like, just put the gun to his back or something, because, you know, it's the same thing. Like the aura doesn't get blocked, or the aura doesn't get, you know, destroyed from like one hit. Or they could have done it that way, but that also doesn't happen like at all. So it was like, it really didn't feel like there was any sense of danger when that happened, because even the big slash thing didn't break his aura. So I'm like, so it was just a hit then. It was a hit that didn't even shatter his aura. It didn't like pierce through it. It did nothing. It was just another hit that he kind of reacted to. Like, I swear it felt like he just looked around. Like he just looked over his shoulder and he ended up reacting more because he realized it was Pyrrha out of the corner of his eye. It didn't seem like it was because he was hurt. It was kind of, he was just like, oh dang, it was her. And then he got knocked off the tree. But like there's no moment where like his aura shattered or anything. So I'm like, I mean, he's fine. Like why'd they do that really dramatic slash? And it was just nothing. I thought that was super weird. I definitely had to reference that, because I'm like, I was freaking out, because like, you know, them going through this moment, I was like, they're at the tree, all this stuff is happening. Are they actually going to kill somebody? And one of the things, you know, with Jaune being time skipped a little, if they did that, that would be so dark. But maybe like he's not a part of Team RWBY. He is like probably like the biggest character you could kill off right now. He definitely is, you know, as of this moment. That's not, you know, officially Team RWBY. So it's just like, I thought that was a possibility, and maybe they'll show that in the next one. If he fell super, super far, they'll throw something in there. But I'm like, the hit did nothing, and then he got pushed off. But it was like, oh, it's fine. He took a hit, I guess, and he was okay. So wanted to rant about that, obviously, because that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It was a part of things being rushed. It was like the action felt super simple, and then that was like this holy crap moment that ended up just being nothing. And I was like, okay, well, this was a weird fight that didn't feel like it had like a lot of style. And typically that's not that big of a deal. it's not that the fights will end up being bad and I noticed like, oh, this sucks and that sucks. This was the one where I was like, this just feels very simple. And then they did like I said, the anime, the big flash move at the end, nothing happened. And then they just did another move where he got knocked off by someone else, and I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll figure it out in the next episode, but I thought that was very weird. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the team, because they don't really go into the fight after. Like once that happens, we cut to RWBY, so maybe we'll see them actually be in danger and have to fight and maybe do some cooler stuff. They did, like when they fought the prince, that was awesome. I love that sequence. I was like, we barely ever get to see them do like combo moves. Like I feel like we haven't seen that since like volume 1. That's how it feels. Like they don't do those combo moves that often. I thought that was fantastic. I love that fight sequence. So any fight sequence, you hope to have, some cool stuff. And it was just like, oh, this felt very simple. I love the action of the last episode, but it was definitely more dramatic action. It wasn't like, high intensity adrenaline action. It was just, dramatic action. And this, I was like, this is action. And it's just like, all right, they're just shattering, it's just like shadow clones made out of glass, which amongst all the fillers in Naruto, I'm sure I've seen that. So it was like, okay, they're breaking. That's nothing. They just keep breaking and that's it. And then it was basically like the last moment was when they finally did like the mirages of other characters, and they just didn't utilize it. It was like, do the Jabberwocks, those are super tough, or actually use the other people from the very beginning, like something like that. It just didn't feel as inventive as it should have, considering it was like they just did it. Like Neo is like the perfect character for that, and they just did in the last episode. And then I know it's a different character, but at the same time, he thought of it at the end. Like he's smart enough to be the character where it's like, yeah, if he did that from the very beginning, if they showed up and he just looked like someone else for no reason, I'd be like, you know what? That's a crazy cat move. I would totally buy that. He was like, yeah, I kind of expected you guys to show up. And he just looks like somebody. I don't know. But I was like, that I would have accepted it. But all in all, the episode was fine. It's good stuff in it. It just feels, crammed together way too fast. And especially with the next one just being the end. We've gotten a really short season, not only in episodes, but every episode. I think we've only had like one 20-minute episode, unless I'm mistaken, and everything's been 15 minutes. Like this one was 15, and I was like, wow, that was super fast for something that felt really important. And then reading that comment, realizing it was the one before the finale, I was like, oh, I have like 100 million questions, and unless it's like legit gonna be an hour and a half long film next week, they can't do it all. And it's like, I don't really want to be here. And even if they connect it, I don't know how much of this world I want to transfer over. I would assume they would only end up doing the cat, and I'd be curious to see how that plays out. Like, how is they're going to add a new villain that is an overarching villain, or would he actually follow Salem? Like, there's questions there for sure. They could do it, but it's just like, there's so many villains. There's so many storylines to do. We still got Emerald. We still don't know what's going to happen with Mercury when they interact. I'm waiting for that. I just want to see Sun and Neptune again. Like, that's just like, man, we need Sun. We need the junior detectives back. I need them. So I hope we get that next season, no matter what. But there are a million characters out there. Something insane just happened. Amazing to see Summer, but I really want to go back to the real world. And if they go back and the story is split between how do we defeat Salem and how do we get RWBY back, which would be, I guess, doing this again, somehow they have to get locked out. I don't know. The question is up there. So how do they get locked out of it? Does that even make sense? If you resolve it, is it too fast? It definitely would be to me. But I like to have hope that somehow everything's going to tie together really, really well. And hopefully in a 30-minute package, because it's the finale and we've literally had like one 24-minute episode. So hopefully we get a long season finale. I just don't know what to really expect. It's hard to know, like, where can we go for the finale when so many things are just like, you just did all of this. I have questions about Alex. I have questions about her brother. I have questions about, are they going to get locked out? If Summer comes back and RWBY's dead, how do you not just instantly solve that problem? How do you instantly solve that problem if that's what they decide to do without it being incredibly dumb and rushed? So I want it to be good, but everything is like, there's a million things that they kind of introduced and make us question and ponder and all this stuff. How do you satisfy all those questions in one? And somehow there's a big chunk of this, what's happening now, doesn't go into the next season. and kind of take away from the story in the outside world? Or how do they combine that without it still feeling like it's taken away? Because they have to have the villains together, or we're wasting a whole season on the cat and then he just dies. And then we go back to Salem. It's like, why do that for 2 seasons? So there's got to be some connection. I really hope there is. But we'll see what happens. One episode is, and I'm super scared it's going to be, if the finale's 15 minutes, that's going to be a problem within itself. I feel like all my complaints for this season are how a lot of people feel about The Mandalorian right now. So at least I got The Mandalorian. I'm loving that. I'm hyped for that season finale. This one has me worried though. This one has me worried. So we'll see what happens. I would love to know your thoughts on just how you guys felt about this episode. I know they technically did the answers and everything came together as it felt like it should have. It just felt like we were missing at least another episode. At least another episode in between to just let that breathe and stretch out before they really get the answer. Maybe have an episode where they're just stuck wondering and questioning, and then they get the answer at the end. And then we have, basically this episode, but just minus a little cut, with the village. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It feels like there's a lot here that has to be done to feel good as a finale, because I also don't know when the next season's coming out. I doubt it's going to be like another 2 years or something, but I don't know. I obviously I'm going to watch it. I'm super cautiously optimistic with the way things are, with the way I'm feeling, like questioning wise. I'll be super duper cautious about this one, but I am going to watch it, obviously. See what they do. See if we go back. See who shows up. Who knows? Somebody else getting resurrected. Maybe Summer. That's crazy. We got to see her. That was crazy in itself. Also, Yang looked like a little kid, and Ruby just looked like it was her head, and they just didn't want to show her body. I'm like, that just looks like her big grown person head, and it's just like, I'm just like, I don't feel like she looked like baby Ruby. It was like, that's just Ruby's head, like just like that, like barely shrunken down too. I felt like that was just her normal head, just on a pillow, and I'm like, just her head looks too big. But nice to see Summer. We might see her for an entire effing season after this. I don't know. It's so hard to wonder how this plays out and still makes sense. What if she just comes back as Ruby, just with her mom's sword, her mom's like axe? It's like, how crazy would that be? That would be so simple. It'd just be like, I don't know if I hate it or love it. We'll see. I doubt that'll happen, but that would be nuts. She just comes back as like, I'm back. I got mom's axe though. All right, season finale, and then that's how it ends. It's like, oh, okay, that's a twist. I doubt that'll happen, but that'll be wild if it does, because that's ridiculous. But either way, thanks for checking this out. I know I've rambled quite a bit on this one because I'm high, and this is like I said, my 3rd time trying, so I gotta make sure I get everything in this. There's so much stuff that I said 2 or 3 times already, and I'm like, hope I didn't say it in this one. So there's a lot of extra rambling on top. Also, that slash still don't make no sense. He did not. That was a weird flash to be like danger. And I think they've done it in the show before, where it's like, you do the flash, you know what that means. And it's just, oh man, something tickled me. That was weird. Thought that was weird. But looking forward to the finale. We'd love to know what you guys think. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Excuse me. Really, thank you for getting through my 420 rambling. Like, these are just like the extra crazy ones. So really appreciate you sticking through that. Also, I do stream, but right now you can just check out my most recent stream, which is Resident Evil 4. The whole thing is up right now. The next thing I have to upload is the Mercenaries episode, but you guys will see that. It'll be linked as far as like the end title card videos and stuff for this one. So definitely check that out if you guys are interested, of course. I love Resident Evil. It's my favorite franchise. So if you're a huge fan of it, definitely check it out. I'd really appreciate it, because I mean, there's a reason I got this. Not just because she's hot. She is, but Mod is hot. But that's what was chosen. I flick it every time that she chooses what she wants to do, and we just have to accept that will. But definitely check out my Resident Evil streams. I've done, I think all the recent ones. So I think 2, 3, 8, and now 4. So you can check all those out if you guys are interested. I'd greatly appreciate it. But all in all, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.
You hungry? I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. You hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry. Like I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Like I'm Shaggy. Man, I'm hungry. Man, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Yeah, man. You hungry? Yeah.